Every day, over 2 billion people reheat their leftovers. They assume that food is automatically safe as long as it is heated thoroughly enough. This assumption costs lives. Here is a number you should remember: 1 in 6. That is the proportion of all cancer cases worldwide that researchers now link to dietary factors, including how food is stored, reheated, and consumed. According to data published in the journal CA, a cancer journal for clinicians, poor dietary habits are the second most common modifiable risk factor for cancer worldwide, right behind tobacco use. Yet, almost no one talks about what happens at the molecular level to certain foods when they are reheated a second time, whether in the microwave or on the stove. The chemical reactions that take place are completely silent. You cannot see them. You cannot smell them, but they are happening in your food and, subsequently, in your body. I have spent more than 15 years studying nutritional biochemistry and the relationship between food science and preventive oncology. Today, I am going to show you 4 foods that you almost certainly reheat. Foods that are likely in your refrigerator right now and that undergo documented, scientifically proven chemical changes when reheated. Changes that carry a measurable cancer risk. Stay tuned until the end of this video, because the 4th food on this list is one that almost every health-conscious person considers completely safe. However, this belief is a dangerous misconception. Have you ever considered whether your daily habits in the kitchen are slowly compromising your long-term health without you even realizing it? Before we continue, I want you to understand something important. This is not about a minor inconvenience. It is not about an upset stomach or temporary food poisoning. What we are talking about is the slow, cumulative buildup of carcinogenic compounds in your body over months and years. The kind of silent damage that often goes unnoticed until it becomes extremely difficult to reverse. Cancer rarely develops overnight. It is a gradual process, a slow progression. The building blocks of this process, free radicals, advanced glycation end products, ages, nitrosamines, and byproducts of lipid peroxidation, often do not enter your body through cigarette smoke or industrial pollution, but through your own kitchen. The World Health Organization has classified several compounds that form when reheating certain foods as Group 1 or Group 2A carcinogens. Group 1 means there is conclusive evidence that the substance causes cancer in humans. Group 2A means it is probably carcinogenic to humans. These are not theoretical concerns. They are documented chemical reactions that take place in your kitchen, on your stove, or in your microwave every time the wrong foods are reheated the wrong way. And here is the part that should concern you the most. The people most at risk are not those with unusual eating habits. They are everyday people who believe they are making healthy dietary choices: lean proteins, cooked vegetables, rice, and eggs. These are the 4 food categories we will examine today. After watching this video, you will never look at your leftovers the same way again. In a world flooded with health misinformation, you have the right to know why this advice is credible. This information is based on medical training, with a focus on internal medicine and advanced specialized training in nutritional biochemistry. Over the past 15 years, research has focused specifically on how cooking methods, heat exposure, food storage, and reheating food alter the molecular structure of macronutrients and generate byproducts that interact with human DNA and cellular metabolism. Hundreds of peer-reviewed scientific studies were evaluated for this video. Every claim is backed by published research from respected journals, including Food Chemistry, the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry, Carcinogenesis, and The Lancet Oncology. I will explain the underlying mechanisms in clear, easy-to-understand language. Because the science is real, the evidence is solid, and you deserve to understand it. This is not about selling a supplement or scaring you into buying a course. Preventive medicine begins with knowledge. and the information I am about to share with you could truly help protect you and your family. Before we discuss the specific foods, I need to give you a brief but essential introduction to food chemistry. Please do not skip this section. It is the key to understanding everything that follows. When food is cooked for the first time, the heat creates predictable and generally controllable chemical reactions. Proteins unfold, starches gelatinize, and fats emulsify. These are normal processes. However, when you reheat foods that have already undergone these changes, especially foods that have been stored in the refrigerator for several hours or even days, a completely different set of reactions begins to take place. First, oxidation. Fats and proteins that have been exposed to oxygen during storage become chemically unstable. When heat is applied again, these already damaged molecules break down even further into compounds known as lipid peroxides and malondialdehyde, both well-documented substances capable of damaging DNA. Second, the failed Maillard reaction. The Maillard reaction is responsible for the rich flavor and appealing brown color of many cooked foods. However, when proteins and sugars are repeatedly exposed to high temperatures, they can form compounds known as advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These compounds promote chronic inflammation, one of the primary biological drivers of cancer development. Third, nitrite conversion. Certain foods, particularly those naturally rich in nitrates, undergo a bacterial conversion during refrigerator storage. When these foods are reheated, the nitrates are converted into nitrites, which can then be further transformed into nitrosamines, compounds that the World Health Organization classifies as probable or confirmed carcinogens. Three mechanisms: oxidation, advanced glycation, and nitrosamine formation. Keep these three terms in mind as we go through each food, because you will see that one or more of these mechanisms are involved in every example we discuss. Food number 1. Cooked rice. Rice is the most widely consumed staple food on Earth. More than 3 billion people rely on rice as their primary source of calories. Billions of these people reheat leftover rice every day. It is a deeply ingrained habit in almost every culture in the world. However, there is a serious problem with this practice that has very little to do with the reheating process itself, but rather with what happens during the time the rice spends in the refrigerator between the first and second cooking. As cooked rice cools, it becomes an almost ideal environment for the growth of a bacterium called Bacillus cereus. This is not a rare contaminant. It occurs naturally in raw rice. It survives the initial cooking process and can multiply rapidly in cooked rice that is left at room temperature or stored in the refrigerator for extended periods. When you reheat the rice, the heat may kill the bacteria, but it does not destroy the heat-resistant toxins they have already produced. These toxins survive the microwave. They survive the stove and enter your digestive system intact. However, while the bacterial risk is significant, it is not the primary cancer risk. The cancer risk is this: Bacillus cereus produces a toxin called cerulide, which laboratory studies have shown can damage the mitochondria in human cells. Mitochondrial dysfunction is considered one of the early biological events that can contribute to malignant cellular transformation, the process by which a healthy cell gradually becomes cancerous. There is another, less frequently discussed, but equally important issue associated with reheated rice. Repeated heating of starchy foods increases the formation of acrylamide, a chemical compound created when natural sugars react with the amino acid asparagine under high heat. The International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC, classifies acrylamide as a Group 2A carcinogen, meaning it is probably carcinogenic to humans. So, what should you do instead? Cook rice fresh whenever possible. If you must store it, spread it out on a flat baking sheet immediately after cooking so it cools quickly. Put it in the refrigerator within 1 hour. Consume it within 24 hours and never reheat rice more than once. Food number 2. Cooked chicken. Here is something that might surprise you. Chicken is the world's most popular lean protein. Doctors, dietitians, bodybuilders, and health-conscious families recommend it and frequently build their meals around cooked chicken. And when leftover chicken ends up in the fridge, almost everyone reheats it. This is where the problem begins. When proteins, especially those found in animal muscle tissue, are exposed to high temperatures a second time, they undergo a process known as protein oxidation. One consequence of this process is the formation of compounds called heterocyclic amines, or HCAs. HCAs are not a controversial topic in nutritional science. They are among the most extensively researched diet-related carcinogens in the scientific literature. Once HCAs enter the body, liver enzymes metabolize them into highly reactive compounds that can bind directly to DNA. This interaction with DNA can cause genetic mutations. Mutations affecting critical genes, particularly tumor suppressor genes, represent one of the primary mechanisms by which cancer develops. A landmark study published in Carcinogenesis found that individuals who frequently consumed well-done or reheated poultry had a statistically significant increased risk of colorectal cancer. A separate analysis by the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health found that the frequent consumption of reheated processed chicken was associated with an increased risk of pancreatic cancer, one of the deadliest cancers with a 5-year survival rate of just 11%. Foods number 3 and 4 are the ones most people misunderstand. Food number 3 primarily affects people who pride themselves on maintaining a clean, healthy diet. Food number 4 is something dietitians and doctors routinely recommend consuming. Yet the risks associated with reheating it remain almost entirely unknown to the general public. Food number 3. Spinach and other nitrate-rich leafy greens. Spinach is arguably one of the most celebrated vegetables in healthy eating. It is rich in iron, folate, magnesium, and powerful antioxidants. Dietitians, oncologists, and cardiologists consistently recommend eating more spinach, and they are absolutely right. When it is eaten fresh or cooked once and consumed immediately. The problem arises when spinach is stored and then reheated. Spinach, along with celery, beets, lettuce, and Swiss chard, is among the richest dietary sources of naturally occurring nitrates. In their natural form, these nitrates are beneficial. They support cardiovascular health and contribute to healthy blood pressure regulation. However, once cooked spinach is refrigerated, naturally occurring bacteria on the surface of the leaves begin to convert these nitrates into nitrites. This is the same chemical conversion that takes place in cured meats. It is also one of the reasons why the World Health Organization classified processed meat as a Group 1 carcinogen in 2015. When spinach that has been refrigerated for 24 hours or longer is reheated, you are applying heat to a vegetable that has already undergone a significant conversion of nitrate to nitrite. Under the influence of heat, these nitrites can react with amino acids present in the spinach and later in your stomach to form nitrosamines. Nitrosamines are among the most potent diet-related carcinogens identified by modern science. Animal studies have shown that they can trigger cancer even at remarkably low doses. Furthermore, epidemiological research consistently links high nitrosamine exposure to an increased risk of stomach, esophageal, and colorectal cancer. This is not a hypothetical problem. The European Food Safety Authority, EFSA, has issued formal guidelines on dietary exposure to nitrates and nitrites from vegetables, explicitly warning against the potential risks associated with reheating nitrate-rich vegetables after they have been stored post-cooking. The irony is devastating. One of the healthiest foods on Earth can become a source of carcinogenic compounds simply because of a storage and reheating habit practiced by millions of health-conscious people every week. So, what should you do instead? Cook spinach and other leafy greens fresh whenever possible. Eat them immediately after cooking. If you have leftovers, consume them cold within a few hours. Do not put cooked spinach in the refrigerator with the intention of reheating it later. If you absolutely must store it, keep it in an airtight container, consume it within 6 hours, and do not reheat it. Eat it cold instead. Food number 4. Eggs. I told you the fourth food would surprise you. Here it is. Eggs. Eggs are among the most nutritionally complete foods in existence. They contain all 9 essential amino acids. They are an excellent source of choline, an essential nutrient that supports brain function. They provide significant amounts of selenium, an important mineral involved in antioxidant defense, and they also contain lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 antioxidants that help protect both eye health and cellular health. By almost any nutritional standard, eggs are one of the healthiest foods you can eat. However, reheating eggs, especially scrambled or hard-boiled eggs, creates a specific and often overlooked chemical problem that very few people talk about. Eggs contain about 13% fat, with the majority of this fat concentrated in the yolk. When an egg is cooked for the first time, the fats in the yolk undergo an initial stage of oxidation. This is a normal and expected process. However, when a cooked egg is refrigerated and then reheated at a high temperature, these already oxidized fats undergo secondary lipid oxidation at a much faster rate. The byproducts generated during this process, particularly malondialdehyde and oxysterols, are now well documented in the scientific literature. Oxysterols, in particular, have attracted significant scientific attention over the last decade. These compounds are oxidized forms of cholesterol that develop specifically when cholesterol-containing foods are repeatedly heated. A comprehensive review published in the journal Food and Chemical Toxicology concluded that oxysterols possess pro-atherogenic, pro-inflammatory, and, most importantly, cytotoxic and genotoxic effects on human cells. Genotoxic. This word is extremely important. It means toxic to the genetic material in your cells, your DNA. By definition, genotoxic compounds are considered potential carcinogens because they can cause DNA strand breaks and genetic mutations that trigger the chain of events leading to cancer. There is another issue associated with reheated eggs. When cooked egg proteins are exposed to excessive heat a second time, especially during rapid reheating in the microwave, they undergo additional protein denaturation. These proteins form abnormal crosslinks that make it harder for your digestive system to break them down. More importantly, some research suggests that the sulfur-containing amino acids naturally found in eggs, cysteine and methionine, can degrade upon repeated heating. The degradation products formed from these amino acids can contribute to oxidative stress in the lining of the digestive tract. Oxidative stress affecting the intestinal lining is no small matter. Persistent oxidative stress in the gastrointestinal mucosa is considered one of the primary proposed mechanisms in the development of colorectal cancer, the third most common cancer worldwide, responsible for nearly 1 million deaths each year. So, what should you do instead? Eggs are best eaten immediately after cooking. If you prepare eggs in advance, store hard-boiled eggs in their shells and eat them cold. Avoid reheating scrambled eggs or omelets in the microwave. If you absolutely must reheat an egg-based dish, use gentle, indirect heat, such as a warm water bath or a very low-temperature oven. Never heat egg dishes to temperatures above 165 degrees and approximately 70-40. Point 3. I want to be honest with you about something. When I first started reviewing the scientific research on reheated foods, when I carefully read the literature on nitrosamine formation, heterocyclic amines, and oxysterols, my initial reaction was not fear. It was frustration. Frustration because this information is not hidden. It has been published in peer-reviewed scientific journals. It appears in official guidelines from the European Food Safety Authority, the World Health Organization, and numerous health agencies around the world. And yet, somehow, it almost never reaches the dinner table. It is rarely communicated in a way that is clear, practical, and easily applicable for everyday people in their daily lives. Billions of people make decisions about reheating food every day, not because they are careless, but because they were simply never given this information. There are children eating reheated rice, spinach, and eggs in their school lunches 5 days a week. There are older adults with weakened immune systems reheating leftover chicken in the microwave simply because they live alone and it is convenient. There are fitness enthusiasts eating reheated, high-protein meal prep containers every day, convinced they are maximizing their health, completely unaware that the chemical composition of their food has changed significantly since its original preparation. None of these people are doing anything wrong. They just do not know. Now you know. That is the purpose of this information. Not to make you afraid of food, but to provide you with practical, evidence-based knowledge that empowers you to make smarter, healthier choices. To help bridge the gap between what modern science has already discovered and what the general public actually knows. So, let's summarize it all. 4 foods, 4 different biological mechanisms, 1 clear conclusion. Food matters. Food number 1, rice. Reheating cooked rice can reactivate heat-stable bacterial toxins produced by Bacillus cereus and also promote the formation of acrylamide through the reaction of natural sugars with amino acids upon repeated heating. Mechanism: bacterial toxin activity and acrylamide formation. Potential link to cancer: mitochondrial dysfunction and exposure to a probable group 2A carcinogen. Food number 2, chicken. Reheating cooked chicken at high temperatures promotes the formation of heterocyclic amines, HCAs, through protein oxidation, while simultaneously increasing lipid oxidation, byproducts like malondialdehyde and 4-hydroxynonenal. Mechanism: protein oxidation and lipid oxidation. Potential link to cancer: direct DNA interaction by HCAs and an increased risk of colorectal and pancreatic cancer. Food number 3, spinach and other leafy greens. During refrigeration, bacterial activity converts naturally occurring nitrates into nitrites. When these vegetables are reheated, the nitrites can react to form nitrosamines. Mechanism: conversion of nitrate to nitrite to nitrosamine. Potential link to cancer: increased exposure to nitrosamines, which is linked to stomach, esophageal, and colorectal cancer. Food number 4, eggs. Repeated heating of egg yolks, which contain both cholesterol and fat, promotes the formation of oxysterols, oxidized cholesterol derivatives with documented genotoxic activity, as well as secondary lipid oxidation products. Mechanism: cholesterol oxidation and secondary lipid oxidation. Potential link to cancer: DNA damage, oxidative stress affecting the intestinal lining, and an increased risk of colorectal cancer. 3 fundamental biochemical mechanisms repeatedly occur in 4 of the most frequently reheated foods in the world: nitrosamine formation, lipid and protein oxidation, and the activation of bacterial toxins. This is not fear-mongering. It is food biochemistry that has been repeatedly, consistently, and rigorously studied in the scientific literature. Now let me tell you exactly what you should do with this information. These are practical, straightforward steps that require no special equipment, no supplements, and no drastic lifestyle changes. Just small, informed decisions that can significantly reduce your long-term exposure to potentially harmful dietary components. Cook rice fresh whenever possible. If you store it, cool it down within 1 hour, put it in the refrigerator immediately, consume it within 24 hours, and never reheat it more than once. Eat leftover cooked chicken cold in salads or wraps whenever possible. If reheating is necessary, use the lowest effective temperature and avoid overheating beyond the recommended safe internal temperature. Do not reheat cooked spinach, Swiss chard, beet greens, or celery. Eat them cold instead, or prepare them fresh. Do not store cooked leafy greens for more than 6 hours before consuming them cold. Cook eggs fresh whenever possible. If you prepare hard-boiled eggs in advance, store them unpeeled and eat them cold. Never heat scrambled eggs or other egg dishes in the microwave. Invest in a food thermometer. Gentle reheating below 165 degrees or 74.4 degrees can significantly reduce the formation of many of the compounds discussed in this video compared to high-temperature cooking methods. Avoid reheating food more than once. Cook once, reheat once, maximum. After that, discard the leftovers. When reheating high-protein foods, use a low-temperature oven instead of a microwave whenever possible. Microwave ovens can create uneven, localized hot spots that can accelerate oxidation reactions. Plan your meal portions carefully so that you produce fewer leftovers in the first place. That is the most effective behavioral change you can make. Before I conclude, I want to ask you something, and I really want to hear your answer. Which of these 4 foods surprised you the most? Was it rice, the food that almost everyone reheats without a second thought? Was it chicken, the protein that millions of people consider the gold standard? Was it spinach, the vegetable that virtually every health expert recommends eating more often? Or was it eggs? Let me know in the comments below. And if there is a specific food you would like me to investigate in a future video, something you eat regularly or reheat frequently, write that in the comments as well. Your questions help shape the research. Before we end, I want to leave you with one final message. Think of someone in your life who reheats leftovers without giving it much thought. Maybe it is a parent, a sibling, a college student, or a spouse. They do not know what you know now, and you can change that in less than 10 seconds simply by sharing this video with them. Not to scare them, but to give them the same information you now have. Because they deserve the opportunity to make informed decisions about their health just as much as you do. The research is real, the potential risks are real, and the solutions are remarkably simple. Share this video because cancer prevention is not just a personal responsibility. It is also something we can help each other with. As always, I want to end with an important clarification. Everything presented in this video is intended for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended as personal medical advice, medical diagnosis, or treatment recommendations. The scientific findings discussed reflect results published in the peer-reviewed medical and scientific literature available at the time this video was produced. Food science continues to evolve rapidly, and recommendations may change as new, high-quality evidence becomes available. I strongly encourage you to consult your own doctor, a registered dietitian, or another qualified healthcare professional before making significant changes to your diet, especially if you have an existing medical condition. The mission here has always been to translate complex scientific research into clear, practical, and evidence-based information. Not to replace your doctor, but to ensure that the same scientific knowledge available to researchers is also available to you. Because you deserve nothing less than complete, accurate, and evidence-based information about your own health. If this information has changed the way you look at the leftovers in your kitchen, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like. We are uncovering the science that has been kept hidden in academic journals. Let's cultivate a healthier future together. The next treasure trove of knowledge will be opened soon.